All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well today. Yeah, we might as well continue. During the day I've done some work bugs, so I fixed up quite a number of work bugs, and I realized I didn't fix up one of the specific work bugs. I forgot to add in those. So we're going to fix that up very, very quickly. We're also going to implement the ability to send through custom... this is for the select, to be like, listen, you can use these particular two fields instead. So we're going to implement that today. I've also gone ahead, so if we go npm run docs dev. Oh, hold on. All right, npm install. Do that again. There we go. What we actually have is the welcome documentation currently being built and so forth like that. So you'll be able to pick the components. You can go into, let's say, button. It's not perfect just yet. We'll figure this out as we're going through this whole entire process, but at least we've got somewhere to start with. An idea here is we can use this for testing purposes. So yeah, great news for us. 2 seconds, sorry. We'll still have this one. I just don't like it as much. Obvious reasons. I rather be able to use this to sort of test what I can do, because I can have lots of different variations in here and so forth like that. So yeah. There you go. Now the selects won't work in here. I know. And I've got to set up all that documentation and so forth like that. So yeah, we'll get there. All right, let's go into source components. Select. Okay, we want to go into welk select. And we actually want to also open up this one. So I've made a couple of changes. I've allowed the disabled to be null and undefined. We'll pass that information through the we'll pass that information through the component. So if it's null and undefined, disabled will be false. Easy done. And then if it is defined, we'll use that definition. Same with the opt group. And sorry, my brain's I've just woken up from a nap, so my brain is still burning up. We will need to actually set the options. All right, give me 2 secs. We've just hit an ad break. All right, welcome. So for those on YouTube wondering what's actually happening, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch. That's just to stop the pre-rolled ads, because the pre-rolled ads suck. So yeah. And I'm trying to think at the moment. All right. So my brain is... I've just woken up from that, so I'm still sleepy. Oh, those are my sentences. Right. Hopefully everyone's going well. We've got about 40 seconds of the ad left. and then we can jump straight back into this. And I got to think about a couple of things around this too. So, yeah. We're also joined here today. Sox is over there in the corner, like she is. She's getting herself a little butt rub right now. About 10 seconds left. There we go. All right. Welcome everyone. Now, one little thing is, if we're not going to use a label and a value, if we're not going to use a label or a value, I'm just going to have to protect the component. Yeah. All right. Now, done a little lookup. If I wanted two unknowns, the best way to do it is with a key string. So we're going to do that. Now, the next thing is, that means we get rid of these two. We know we're going to limit it down to either a string or a number. So that will be that one. That also gets rid of this. That will make it like that. We get rid of that. We'll just put that up there. Now that's having a complaint. Yeah, we want to limit that down. This to a string or a number. In theory, it could be a boolean. Stop it. So I'm just thinking in my head what we're going to do. So I still need the disabled and the opt groups in there. Now I need them to be of a specific type. Either that is a string, null, or undefined. Yeah. But every other thing will be stock standard. All right. Now, I don't know why it's not letting me do something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this. That was perfectly fine. All right. If I... Oh, is it because this is unknown? I think that's it. I think think it's because we're setting that. Okay. Just wondering if we use an extends. All right. Let's try that. Let's undo everything here. All right. So we've got the select option interface there. This is... All right, cool. Super select option interface. And we're just going to go extend select option interface. And then what I want to do, key string. I just want this to be either a string or a number. All right, Socks, come on, stay still. All right, property of disabled is not assigned to. All right, this is annoying. There it sucks. All right. So I'm just trying to think how I would tackle this problem. I think we would have to do an unknown, pass it through, double check its types. If it is a certain type, then we'll render out how we want it to. Otherwise, we will have to... Sorry, sucks, but no. Otherwise... yeah, otherwise I would have to think how we can get this interface to work properly. Annoying as hell. But the good news is we can get rid of these two. And we can go key, we can go that as a string, and then we just go unknown. All right. Doesn't help us much. Yeah. All right, we're not going to go over crazy with this. I think this is the better sort of case. And So that's the options. What we need to actually pass through. So we've got the label. Options label. That's going to be type of string required is going to be false because we're going to set the default as label. All right. What's the other thing? So we've got a label and a value. We'll have the options value, also type, once again, it's going to be a string, required is going to be false, default is going to be value, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfect. Now, group options. I'll have to figure that one out in a minute. That error. Just remembering how I'm doing this. So, Relender. Alright. So, the options for a type, it's going to be that. We also need to pass through those two props that we've just created up here. We need the options and the value passing down. Like so. Then in here, what we've got is we've got to actually get the key and the value. So for us, the key, because we're no longer guaranteed a value, we then got to pass through the option value. That will get us that. That will get us that. Then that will be that. And I don't know why key is being weird. Oh, you piece of shit. Excuse my French. Let's have a look how I'm doing it up here. All right, get group options. String, null or undefined. Yeah, it's because I've made changes. So what I've done is I've made change down here It used to be question mark string. Null makes sense. Or undefined. Thing is, I've got to filter out everything that isn't null or anything like that. All right, cool. So what I can do is I can go const opt group equals props.options dot map filter. We're going to have a look at the row. And what we're going to do is we're going to return the type of row opt group equals string. So we're only getting the strings. We don't need to worry about the nulls. We don't need to worry about the undefines. So we're happy for that. All right, filter for those rows that have an opt group of type string. All right, cool. And then down here, what we need to do I'm going to do that. Now the opt group itself should be a string. So string, null, or undefined. All right, done. That's perfectly fine. But we'll be filtering out all the undefined, of course, from up here. That will be perfectly fine. It will most likely fall on to being null, which is okay in our books. Yeah, we double check it there. That's perfectly fine. In fact, what I could potentially do is I could put that back in. No, but no. We're purposely filtering out stuff for us. Oh, we're doing the filtering there. All right, no, let's... Let's start. All right, sorry, I didn't see that last line. So what we do is we get everything set up here. This line, we just filter everything out. There's a check in between. We're actually happy with all that. All right, cool. Now I've got to use my brain to think how we're going to do this properly. So we've got the options without groups, which is this, which just creates a new set where easy done. Just creates a new set like that. So that will get all of what we want. We're then passing down fuck off. Sorry, excuse my French. Sometimes it just wants to fill in some random stuff, which I want a new line. Alright, so we're passing those two values down into there. That way we've got the options without group. That then goes in here. This this is where I need to VueJS V for we've got indexing, item index. All right, cool. Type. Yeah, that's why I got double. Sorry, I'm just the double thing should give us the index, which is a number. All right, let's do this the old way. Type of equals undefined. We then go index, otherwise we'll go option, options value, get rid of all of this. It's because it's unknown. All right. I'm going to try something. I don't think this will work, but it's worth a shot. So we're going to import the computed from Vue. Define const get keys. Oh, this might need to be a method. All right. Oops. All right, so we've got cat keys. What we're going to do is we're going to pass through the option, which is, if we hover over this is going to be select option interface. And we're going to pass through the index, which is just going to be a number. So, actually, be more like that. Now this is complaining because I didn't type in function at the start. What I want to do is I just want to go get keys, and I want to go option, from here we'll go option values, and then we just want index, and there I go. So if the type of value equals string, we're just going to return the value. We know it's a string. Otherwise, we're going to return the index.toString. All right, that's just a simple function to get around all of that. So yeah, it's not ideal. I mean, the value could also be a number. I mean, that works also there. Then we can get rid of those lines. Just trying to think what other, an array, we don't want that because we want it as a string coming back, and yeah, all right, we should be set here. So that should pass all the way down into here. We should be fine with this like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. We now need to do it over here. Sorry, I like things in alphabetical order. So we've got the select render. So up here, we've got all of this sort of stuff. Once again, we're just going to copy these props in. There we go. Easy done. We're going to scroll down for the we've got the opt group. That's rendering perfectly fine. We also just need to pass through the options label equals just the options label. We're just passing all of that down. Oi! Options value like that. And I've just realized that we're on another ad break. All right, how's everyone going? Yeah, we're slowly getting through this. I've got 10% brain power. So, yeah. Needed that nap. Come 4 o'clock, I was out like a light. So, yeah. I've also got socks here. She got her cuddle meter filled. Oh, she's yawning. About 30 seconds after the ads. And yeah, we'll get into it, and hopefully, yeah, we've got to test it. We'll test it, and then hopefully it all works. We'll do a release. I've got my laptop here, so we can do a release, because I haven't set up any YubiKeys or anything like that for the for Ubuntu. Oh, you okay there, Socks? You're gonna throw up. Hopefully not. All right. She's got a hairball. So that should all pass all the way down. We should be, in theory, happy. I'm just going to... Yeah, we've got those 3 values. Yeah, we've got those. We've got the error message. Yeah, we've got the error message. That should be the welk red. Awesome. Yes. Now... we still do have the local app type of stuff. I do kind of want to get rid of this. I do kind of want to move this into doing a proper stuff. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of that. We're not getting rid of that. We are getting rid of these. And then what I want to do... welk select. We'll have our options there. We'll have all of that, and then we'll have something like that. We'll have something like that. Just because I'm a stiffler for layouts and stuff like that. We'll do that. And Dante, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Alright, up here what we need to do is we need to import this from the components. We want the select, and then we want the welk select. There, I'm just going to go const options equals... Now this is with the interface, this one, so we're going to try the default options first. So I'm actually going to go default options, and we're going to pass through so we'll have value apple, label apple. All right, we'll just do fruit. Like that to start off with. Oops. Beginning and then peach. Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, I can't complain. Got some stuff done today around the house, which was nice. Got a lot more to do tomorrow, and on the weekend, more gardening, clean up and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been good. Been good. So with the welk, oh yeah, the label. So please select a fruit. That will actually be like that, and because I'm a stiffler for layout, I'll be doing that. That does not need to happen. That just needs to do that. And that should be the minimum that we need for that. So if I go npm run dev on here, we'll hit this up. We'll go localhost. We'll go 5173. There it is. And if we hit up this, I'm terribly sorry about the bright screen. We are going to deal with that hopefully soon. We've got all the values working out here. Perfect. What I want to do now is I just want to type in here. I'm just going to go fruit. orchard. I'm just picking out words. All right, so down here, what we want to do is we'll have options label, and then we'll have fruit. I've just realized that can actually be like that. So that can actually go up there, and then options value equals orchard. And then if I go over here, I'm just going to hit refresh. This is still working. We've got the value and we've got the option. Great. Just going to type in fruit. All right, that's working perfectly fine. All right, I'm happy with that. That also means could do something like that. Do milk, so just randomly in here. Let's go fruit, milk. Yep. All right, cool. Orchard milk. All right, and we'll do an opt group of cow. There we go. Easy done. So let me just bump this off to the right so you guys can actually see. So yeah, we've got our pineapple, peach, we've disabled grape, we've got the trees up here and the cow there. I think this is working wonderfully. I'm going to bump that off to the left. I'm going to do this. Yeah, that's working how we want it to. This is what we want. Now, I'll need to do a lot more tests than this. I'll need to set up with the unit tests, but for tonight, I'm not going to worry too much with the unit tests. What this means is I can then do a release for Welk, and I can import this into NearBeach, and we can start using this tonight, which is great. And then hopefully this weekend I get around to doing some more unit tests in here. Milk is not a fruit, yeah. All right, so let's actually get that started. All right, git add, git commit. This is for the Welk select, added in the ability to change the default value / label locked fields. That's pretty much it. Now the problem is I've actually got to deploy on my laptop because I haven't set up any YubiKey or anything like that on my Ubuntu environment. So give me a couple of seconds. I'm just CDing into my Welk environment. I'm just pulling those changes that I've just done here. I'm just going to go npm run build. Just double checking everything builds. Yeah, it runs perfectly fine. npm run publish. Now I should, sorry, npm publish, not npm run publish, npm publish. It builds everything. You cannot publish over the previous version. Oh, I forgot to actually do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to vim the package.json. And I've got to change the version number to 19. Now it should, because I logged in today, it should let me just do my thing. All right, cool, and that should be published. Sweet, didn't take too long. There's strawberry milk, yep. But strawberry is not a fruit either. Yeah, what is definition? It's from the rose. Oh, it says it's a fruit. The genius in the rose family, and the strawberries for the edible fruits. Okay. Which reminds me, I gotta pick a couple of my strawberries. They're done. They're ready. I can eat them. Okay, so now we're in here. I'm just going to minimize this. I'm going to open up this. We're going to go in here. We're going to search for Welk. We actually want the latest version. And then we're going to go in here. I'm going to pull it. Oh, sorry, npm install. I'm not the best one knowing what is a fruit and berry and stuff like that, so don't worry about that. I did know that they were in a weird category. Yeah, I did know that they were in like this rose family type of stuff. And that's about it. And I've got 3 bushes in my backyard, which is not, they produce a little, not overly, but yeah, I do like going out there and picking it and eating them. All right, so we've just updated Welk, which is great news. Now we have object status, which has a couple of problems inside it, and that we're going to fix that up first. Let's just close everything else. Let's also go in here, npm run dev. It's got everything running. We're going to do that. I can minimize that. We can go in here. We can go localhost 8000. There's NearBeach. We can go into, let's not create a project because we've got a bunch of projects in here. Let's open up this. Let's move that off to the right. Let's have a look at the console. Have that up and running. All right, cool. So the instant we click on status, we break stuff. That's perfectly fine. We're going to fix that now. So a lot of these drop downs we'll fix. That one's working fine. So I'll hit reload. Yeah, that one's working fine. The high priority we've got to fix. We won't worry about these just yet. What's our next thing I gotta do? Ooh. Yeah, field validation. All right, cool. So in here, this has got a problem. Now, this ID could be a number or a string. So we want to go to string. Now I'll fix both of the sides. Now the status model. Oh, all right. Give me 2 secs. Ref types. Define types. It is that. All right, cool. Oh. Not very. Sorry, number. All right, so no, it's going to be either a string or a number. And yeah, we know that from Welk. So that should be perfectly fine. We've all got that all done now. To do proper error handling. Yeah, we still got to do proper error handling. This new value. This will be either a string or number. So if it equals nothing, we don't do anything. So I'm just trying to think with this. We've got the object metadata store. And we're passing an int through with the value, but no, that's going to be a string or anything like that. All right, we're going to go fetch status in here. We've got an ID. That's actually going to be a string or a number. We don't care. Where this, where that will pass through. The ID itself. Oh. Actually, yeah, no, that's definitely just going to be a number. All right, so I've just got to figure this one out. In our case, we know it's always going to be a number. Yeah, sucks. All right, when equals 0 or new value equals 0, just in case that actually happens, we return if type of new value equals string. We want to actually handle it where new value equals new. We need to pass int new value to make it into a number. Why is that complaining? Typo checked alert. New value is either a string or a number. And that should be fine, but don't you say that. Oh my god. All right. Alright, I'm just going to put a comment there just for that. I hate that. I absolutely loathe that. Because yeah, new value could be string or number. We know that because that's coming from down here. It's just in our sort of case, we know it's always going to be a number and we're trying to convert into a number. We know the IDs are for this object status is always going to be a number. Handling if nothing is meant to be done. All right. Check. New value is a number. So if type of new value, now this is where it complains. This is where it's like, oh wait. Typo check, new value cannot have type string, and it's just like, hang on. Yeah, all right. We have an issue, console. Yep, all right, cool. That's all perfectly fine, and then we patch that stuff in. All right, cool. So everything else works perfectly fine. I do not like that code at all. Yeah. It's a good question. I don't think I can. Because the model on the Welk select itself accepts either a number or a string. And we've kept it like that because it could easily be a number. In this case, it is a number, or it could easily be a string. Yeah, I just think this is one of those sort of cases where we know it's always going to be a number. The TypeScript stuff in here knows it's always going to be a number, but it trips up against itself. Because when you look on this, you're like, oh yeah, string or number. Oh yeah, that's a good point. I can just get rid of that. There you go. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I forgot. I have control on this. This is the status, so I can, yeah, just make that a number. Thanks, yeah. Alright, so we've got all that now. So it's subscribe. We're checking to, yep, alright, cool. That's perfectly fine. The watch, yep, that's perfectly fine. We haven't sort of figured out how we're going to do error handling just yet. That's coming soon. And that should be that. So if I go back into NearBeach, I'm just going to hit refresh. So we've got a clear state. If I change that, status was not found in state management 2. I'm going to bump that off to the left. We're going to have a look at the router view, anonymous space, projects. We want this one. I'm just going to open up this. We're going to open up this. We've got the object status. That is a number. It does exist. So something's going wrong. So what I'm going to do, console log, status right there. Actually, I'm going to go, oi. Like that. We're just going to hit refresh. I'm just going to jump onto the console. We are going to go backlog. And then, yeah, nothing found. All right, I'm screwing up in this fetch status. So we are getting a number. We are returning a number where... I'm going to cheat. We'll shrink this down in a minute. Console logs all the way. All right, we're just going to delete that. I'm just going to change this. We should see backlog now. If I go into here and we've got the target, we've got a 1. Let's just put in the ID. And then let's just put in the condition. So that works there, that works there. If I change the backlog, but let's also back here. I'm just going to do one more conditioning. ID type. Oh. What the? Alright, that's annoying. And I hate this. There we go. Now stop complaining when I do that. Meaning, meaning it's just ignoring everything. It's passing it through as a string. In which case, if I go string in here, and we just turn that to a value, just bear with me with this particular one. And then I convert it to a string there. Double check it isn't something there. Pass int here. go in here, remove this horrible block of code. Like that. Go back in here, delete all this. I'm just actually going to hit refresh. So we've got all that as number. We're going to delete all of that. We're going to change the backlog. There we go. All right, that is just the joys of JavaScript sometimes. Just going to hit refresh, make sure that we are getting... All right, so the condition is true. The condition is true. Sweet. All right, cool. Can get rid of that. Can get rid of that. Get rid of that. I'm gonna hit reload. All right, cool. I don't like that. But at least the statuses are being updated now correctly. We're not having any more console logs. Freaking hate that. Because yeah, you tell it to be a number, and then why is it acting like a string? Okay, not to worry. We'll just stringify it here, and then we'll do the parse int. We won't worry about that too much. All right, now that that one's done, so I'm happy with this, because now this drop down. That's what we're doing. We're doing the temp stuff, and we're passing through all the temp stuff like that. All right, we don't want to do that. We need to actually change this. So I'm just going to whoop that, and I'm going to go in here. We've got the pinner, so we should have object metadata store dot statuses. Like that, and then from here we'll have option label equals, and this is where we've got to look this up in pinner itself. So we'll go to the view stuff, we'll hit the pinner stuff, we've got the object meta stuff, we're going to open up this, and we'll have the value as ID and the status as the label. So we'll have status in there, and then options value equals ID. And if I go back into here and hit reload, this works now. Cool. And yeah, less code. Let's just say that. There we go. We're getting rid of this stuff. And then, yeah, we're just watching, and we're doing this subscribe stuff. Yeah. All right. So, object status should be done. I'm happy with that. Can't think of anything else that we've got here that we need to worry about. Let's go to source, components. This would be the object component. So we've actually got the object statuses here. There we go. We'll need another folder. Alright, I can close that one now. Oh, we'll have object types. I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in, and I'm just going to type in object types. We'll need to rename this one. Easy done. And then with this one, we're just changing everything from, yeah, we're just changing it. Oh, that's another thing. Sorry, I didn't clean up this. Yeah, sorry, I've just got to clean up things we don't need. All right. Sorry, I'm just having another thing. No, I don't need types. Sorry. If I change my mind, I'll put them in. Yeah, I deal with that when I deal with that. All right, cool. I do need to deal with priority. All right, this will be object priority view. We'll definitely add it in. So this is going to be another drop down, but the good news is we know what the priorities are going to be. We're going to handle the translation of the priorities and so forth like that in here. So if someone were to use, let's say, Japanese or something like that, we want that sort of translated. Now, we don't need to worry about the translation on the status, because the user will be able to translate that on their side of things. So we're not worried about that. All right, let's, oops. Project, yeah, let's go into project, stuff like that. So these, the user will be able to actually rewrite these names and so forth like that. So I'm not worried about that. We'll need to actually pass through the translation here. Yeah, I haven't actually translated this page at all, or have attempted to. So it's meant to, we're meant to do something like what we're doing here. There we go. All right. Anyway, sorry, give me a minute. I just need to go off to the bathroom. I won't be long. How do I do the translation? Good question. I'll actually show you. So if we go into the new object over here, you will see that we are using the view internationalization. library. And what actually happens is you can see we've got all the different sort of messages and so forth like that in here. Later on, I'll be splitting these out hopefully into separate files. So that way you only load what you need. But at the moment, for this particular case, we're just doing it like that. And then if you scroll down to the components themselves, you can see that I'm actually calling what I need right down here, like that. So yeah. What database am I using for local development? SQLite, because I've got Django as the backend. However, any sort of database that Django supports. So that could be MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, and SQLite, and MariaDB. Alright, so I won't worry too much about the translation just a second, because it'll be easy to translate that status and that priority and so forth like that. I do need to send through it as compact. Give me a couple of seconds. I need project page. So this is it above. And what I need to do, this will be part of the properties component. Yeah, I've got to do a lot of stuff in here. All right, field validation, priority, yeah, all right. We're getting rid of that anyway. So that will be object priority. We're not worried about any sort of stuff at the moment, but we do need to pass through class equals. Oh, that's another thing. I don't know if I'm passing through those. Let's have a look. Oops. No, damn. All right. Oh wait, that's at that level. All right, no, up here, that's fine. Select status and then compact. All right. Oh. Yeah, that should be. Be that. Even then. Then I can get rid of that up there, so it's yep, all right. And then get rid of that. That's fine. But yeah, the fact that compact is not working with the the select might be an issue. I'm just going to open up Welk again. We're going to put that on that screen over there. We're just going to go, we'll close other tabs. We'll just close everything. We'll open up this. Source, components, select. And then we've got the class, so it should be attaching itself to the Welk class. So if we go in here, go into this select, we've got the div, Welk form group, Welk select, status compact. Okay, so if we go down here, I mean, it should be doing that. However, that being said, if we go to text input, yeah, we're not doing as much. All right, cool. Now it's not a that, it'll be a select. All right, cool. A lot of this is going to be very, very common. It might be actually a good point to put this in a sort of common place. And then deal with any differences in here. All right. I'm not going to worry too much about the status at the moment. That when we do another release of Welk, that should actually automatically enable compact. But for the moment, that's perfectly fine. Let's get priority up and running. So we've got priority. I'm just going to put the status over there. Trying to think how we can do this with the translation straight away, because the user won't have the ability to edit the priorities. They're set in stone. We'll need to actually deal with that. But straight off the bat, what we can do, we can import the required, the Welk select from Welk UI. Is it done? It's the bare minimum at the moment. Actually, no, I need internationalization. So that's where it's been quite a while. Yeah, it's just that. Now, we'll have a constant. This will be priority list. This will be an object like this. And I'm trying to remember if I do how the backend handles this. So give me 2 seconds. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have a look at NearBeach. I'm going to have a look at the models. I'm going to have a look at, oh, this would be MISC, won't it? No. Let's just look at project. So we've got the project. We've got the status, higher order status. We've got the sort order, creation. That's list of project statuses. This is the project there. Okay. Priority is part of an integer field. So it'll be an integer field with the objects being like that. All right. So what I've got to do is I'll have values and then I'll have English or other language values like that. All right, cool. Yeah. So in here, what we'll have is we'll have value 0 and then label. And for the moment, I won't worry about internationalization. We're just going to just key this in like this. Now we'll do something like that. Like that. So that matches the back end. All right. we do need to kind of state that that is going to be an object select type. We won't worry about that just yet. All right, down here with the template, it's going to be very similar to the object status sort of template. We'll have the whelk select, we'll have the class status compact to pass through, we'll have the label equals priority, we'll have the options label is default, the options value is default, so we'll just need the options equals the priority list. The validation rules is going to need required, and vmodel that. Oh, that's one thing I haven't actually done. I haven't actually connected this up to the project. Oh, I know why. Yeah, all right. Not a problem. So the reason why I didn't connect it directly up with the project is, and this is one thing which I didn't think about at all this weekend, and I needed to think about it. It's missing stuff. All right, missing tag. Give me a couple of seconds. Let's just finish this off. Give me, sorry, a couple of seconds. So we've got const priority equals ref. That's, yeah, this is going to be a number. Yeah, we'll leave it like that for the moment. There we go. If I bring this off to the left, we will go into whelk. With the Pinia, we want to download data. We've got our data that we've downloaded, we put in one place. It just makes it a lot easier. As you can see in here, we've got status. The reason why we do what we do with the status is because we kind of want all of this other information too in there. We don't want just a number and then have to build something up to actually fetch that later on, where if we have it like this and someone does a change, we just do that work on the change and shove it into there. And that way we can reference it a lot quicker everywhere else. Same thing will happen with the priority. We'll have the value and the label. It's going to be very easy to do that. So in here, we're going to do the same thing. It'll be on a watch and so forth like that. Now, another thing is we know these are going to be strings. We just know that's what's going to happen. Not a problem. So if I go, so I'm just double checking something. Backlog, yeah, that's updating that. That's, yeah, see, it changes all of that. And then when I'm referencing other stuff, it's just going to read from here. Now, with the priority, I need to do the same thing. That's fairly quick and easy to do, because we've got that there. However, I'll need to do the translations. So let's deal with the translations. And that actually pops up quite up the top. I'm gonna make it pop up there. So we've got the const t equals use internationalization. And then in here, what we're going to do is we'll have messages like that. We'll then have English. We'll deal with the English in a second, and then we'll have the Japanese like that. All right, cool. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write highest. High. Normal. Low. Lowest. All right, and we're going to do that there. We're just going to use translation. Just translate.google and go highest. And I'll get my friend to help me Alright, so we've got all that. Easy. Down here, what we're going to do now, very similar to how we do the stuff on... very similar to how we do npx create database. I don't know what the context is around that. Very similar to how we render stuff out on the template. We should be able to do it here. So we should have a key, and then we should just type in highest. In fact, what I could potentially do... we should be able to do that. So if I refresh, there's our priority. Oh, there's only one of our priorities. The rest didn't come through. Ah, that's because... there we go. Easy done. There we go. There's our priorities coming through. Easy. I thought that was going to be difficult, but no, that's it. Now... we'll need to pass through quite a lot of our other stuff. A lot of it is going to be very similar structure. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it in, and we're going to make some modifications to this. So straight off the bat, we just need to import these. Now, the object store, subscribe, mutation state, we're not after the status, we're after the priority. And we should have priority model. There we go. All right. Now, also, when we go over here, the priority, and it'll be value, not ID. And then it'll be update the model, and that will be priority model dot value equals state dot priority dot id dot toString. Is done. So that one's done. We need to import watch. This will be priority model. So we've got the new value passing through. It won't be fetch status, it'll be fetch priority. Once again, we pass through all that. We'll fix that up in a second. We want all of that like that. And then it'll be priority, and that will be priority. Easy done. Oh, that will be at a 0 state, like that. Yeah, I've just got to fix up a couple of the red text. Yep, easy done. So, fetch priority. Go into this. Oops, sorry, I went to the definition of the store. We'll go down here. So we've got status, LMNO PQRS. So that will be fetch priority, if I can spell. We'll have an ID, we'll have a number to pass through. However, that being said, we'll have a value. It's a bit different. And then what we do is, oh, I realize this can now be like that. And we're going to copy the same thing, except, oh, hold on a minute. No, this isn't stored up here. We can get rid of that. We can go over in here. When it does all of this, it should be, notice how this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and stuff like that. We can cheat. We can just go priority list. Oops, didn't mean to cut it. I was meant to copy it. Priority list. Like that. But we do want to check it and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is, it's not that, it's going to be const priority equals priority list. And we're going to pass the int, and we're going to pass through the new value. Like that. We can get rid of that now. Now, that's going to be priority equals undefined. We then have a problem. And that's it. This will be a priority model. All right. So yeah, this is slightly different. If we jump back over to here now, if we go priority, there's normal because we've made this one normal, but we can go highest. We can go high, we can go lowest, we can go low, and so forth like that. So all of that is set up now. And it should connect to the Pinium. So if I go to the object in here, I can see that the priority is low on there, and now, there we go, sweet. So easy done. That one's done, that one's done. Those are done for the moment. Please note that the description will use the QuillJS as a what you see is what you get. Yeah, we just got to start connecting things up now. And what I mean by connecting things up is when someone makes a change here, it gets saved. All right. I should also start translating a lot of this because, yeah, we want it all translated. Once again, status I'm not worried about. Yeah, those I can feed through. The story points I can feed through. That's not going to be a problem. Yeah, so I'll need to do the translation. I'm just thinking what I've got to do next. And then I'll need to actually link up all the buttons and so forth like that. So we'll have a button down here that's like update title and description. So you just click on it, it'll update the title and description, and I'm tossing up whether or not to make it hide away if you don't make a change. Like if you suddenly make a change, it'll appear. And then when you click on it, it will save and then tell you that it's updated. I've also got to start dealing with this. Ooh, this I can deal with today. So that's part of the documentation. I thought that was a bug, but turns out I'm using slots and I just haven't implemented the slots correctly on NearBeach side of things. So we don't want NearBeach, we want source, we want components, we want the, not the new object, sorry, we want the project stuff. And then that will be part of the tabs. We want the document component, and create and filter. So as you can see here, we've got the label create. That's not how we do it. That's how we do it. Get rid of that and close that. We can open up the NearBeach stuff. So yeah, you've got the create now there. Yeah, I'll need to fix that all up and so forth like that, but baby steps at the moment. So yeah, half of this is in Welk, half of this is in NearBeach. That, in fact, I could just use an icon for that. I think I am using, what is the icon packages I am using? Let's have a look. I think I'm using that. Ooh, number one's out. All right, cool. What I might do, what's the highest? Load dash vulnerability. I don't use load dash, but what is using load dash? All right, not a problem. Quick and easy fix. So in here, what we want to do is we want to import upload from that. Oh, we got it right there. Then all I need to do is go upload. I think like that. It's pretty big. Give me a couple of seconds. What I'm going to do is, yeah, all right. Oh, sorry, big one. I'm not going to worry too much about that at the moment. We can fix that later with a bit of CSS and so forth like that. I just want the functionality to work. It's also one of those things that I might actually change the border to more of a dash sort of thing. So let's just go into the button. Let's go into this. I might go border, style, dashed, like so. Border width, let's say 1 pixel. Let's shrink it down like that. And then I might handle the SVG like that too, where I shrink it down so it's there, you can notice it. And we can write upload here like that and get those all lined up and working and so forth like that. Another day. All right, I'm just gonna hit refresh for that. Actually, no, I kind of like the word upload to imply what you're gonna be doing. So, I kind of lost track of what I was going to do. Translations. Okay, so we do the translation at, I'm just going to close the other tabs, at the level we're at. So in here, you'll notice that we've got a bunch of tab lists. So we do the translations in here for these. We don't have many other stuff to translate in this one, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. So what we got to do, define internationalization. We go const t equals use internationalization. And in here we'll have messages. We'll have English. So we'll quickly do the English. We'll have linked objects. We'll have documentation. We'll have notes. And we'll have MISC. And then we'll do the Japanese one. And once again, we're just using translate to do this. Notes and comments. And then, yeah, we just do it down here. This will be T linked objects. T documentation. T, that'll just be notes. T misc. And if we go back into NearBeach, we've still got this, which we're happy with. If we go to the Japanese version, notice how it changes. Perfect. All right, cool. So slowly getting there. Yeah. We just now need to update these. That'll be pretty easy to do. So we're going to go from the top down. So we've got the general details component. Here it is. We're injecting something of the const t equals use internationalization. There we go. We'll key in everything that we need to in here in a second. So we'll have details. Like that. I better set this up so messages, English, oh no, this will be fine. Sorry, I thought this was going to be very... No, it is. It is a general detail component. So what I've got a problem of is project details, like that. All right, I'm just going to do the one for the Japan right now. So this works on this page. However, I'm going to be using this component on other pages too. Yeah. Hey, sucks. And we've had a problem in the past where we can't add on multiple different layers to get the information that we want. And if we're going to start supporting other different languages, it's not always going to be project detail. In this sort of case with Japanese, you've got the progetto, and then no, which then combines it with the, I'm assuming that means detail. So I can't just assume project will be up at the start there. So we got to handle this. That's where we've got to go in here. Let's have a look. Conversational API, give me 2 seconds. Also, Sox has come over to say hello. She's like, hello. There you go, Socks. You're on the screen. Alright. I'm just going to do this so you guys can also read. So basic usage, yada, yada, we're all fine with all of that. I'm just wondering, yeah, we've got messages.hello. And I'm just wondering if I can do that up here. So if I go project and I go details, and I go project details, will that work or will it fail? Let's actually find out. So if we go into here and we go project details, yeah, it's just rendering out that. Yeah, and they've just got it like that. The alternative is I can put the project underscore and then that on there. I think I've done that. Yeah, I've done that elsewhere, where we've got like the dashboard and all the different objects that are going to be using it and so forth like that. And that's how we've handled those particular cases. So if we actually go into this one and then we scroll all the way down somewhere, so this will be project title. I know I have it somewhere. So project title. Oh, I've done it like that. All right. So I'm just giving a good think how I want to tackle this, due to how many objects are going to be used in this one little screen. Oh, don't you want to be on? All right, so that's the best I can do with the camera. There we go. You're still there. All right. Oh yeah, butt rub. All right. So, let's go to demo.NearBeach. So new organization won't use this screen. New customer won't use this screen. New Kanban board won't use this screen. New project will. New requirement will. New task will. New request for change won't. A new requirement item might. So if we oh, sorry, not the new stuff. Sorry, just these pages. Yeah, these pages will use that generic sort of stuff. So we've got 4 components that will use it, and that's fine. I'm not stressed about that at all. Just means I've got to deal with this in a particular way. So we've got 2 fields that are definitely needed to be translated. 3 fields. 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 on here. I'm going to split this right. so I can use that as a reference. Yeah, we can't use the objects like that, which is annoying. That's how I would prefer to do it. So what we got to do is come up with a list. So we'll have, for example, project details. And then project subtext. Like that. And then what we have is project title. Oh, that label is... That's just generic. So I'm going to go title. That one could be generic. But if we go project title placeholder, this will be your project title, which we want to be specific for that one. Cool, yeah. And then that will be project project description placeholder. That will be, yeah, description of your project. Now we've got title and description. They're going to be generic, which is going to be great. So we're only repeating these four times. So there'll be 1, 2, 3 for that. Alright, LMNOPQR. Alright, so I'm happy with that. And then, yeah, we've just got the generic sort of title and description. So I'll handle those ones very, very quickly. Actually, no, let's get all of this sorted first. So this will be requirement details, upload and modify your requirement details. This is the requirement title. This will be requirement item details, modify your requirement item details, requirement title, description of your requirement. This will be task details. All right. Let's start doing this one. We'll have project details. Projecto no Sosai. All right, cool. And then what I'm going to do That one. Oh, and it's just easier to do it like this. So yeah, a task. Oops. I did task first, but that's fine. All right. Yeah, just gotta quickly do all of this. Oh my god, I hate when that happens. Piss off. For some strange reason, I just have to hold down the right mouse button every now and then. Requirement item. This is a placeholder. Yeah, that would have been a bug. A very annoying bug. All right. Another little bug. And now I just got to do title and description. So that will be title, that will be title, description will be setsumai. All right, and that's almost there. So what we've got to do is we've got to scroll down here. We've got to handle this now. So this is where we've got to figure out what type of object it is, and from there we key it into the string with what with the place we want. So if memory serves me correctly, we'll go up here. I will bump this off to the left. We'll go into value. We will go into the pinner. In here we have the object, so we definitely got that in here. We don't actually have what object we're currently on. Yeah. We don't have the destination that we want open. Description, and we can say and that will populate up there. Well, we'll get it to populate up there. So I need destination put against the object. That's not hard to do. I'm trying to remember where I actually fetch this data. If we delete everything and do a reload, you'll notice that we actually hit the API. I'm trying to remember where that API is, where that API call is. So we're on the project page. Is it on here? Do we call it on mount, object, reset, we do too. So we don't know what it is at this particular point. All right, so we're going to make this generic. So we're going to get the object ID. We've got the route parameters ID. We've handled those two different cases, and then what we also need to do, const destination, I think ice equals route dot meta dot destination. And then what we want to do is not equal to a string. To do we'll do something like that, and then what we can do here is delete end, we'll have destination, and stuff like that, and then patch response data, but also I need the destination in there too. So we're patching in the response data, and then we kind of want to do that also. Now, I don't think that will work here. The destination. We don't have a destination yet in the state, so let's do that very, very quickly. Let's go into source. We want to go into stores. Let's go into object. Let's go into object here. We'll have a destination. It's just going to be a string. We're actually happy with that. It doesn't need to be anything else. So we key everything in like this. Now, what we could potentially do is we could go response.data.destination equals destination. destination, and then patch data from API. We could do that. That's fairly easy to do. It saves us having to mutate the state twice. Now, type unknown is not assigned. All right, cool. We'll have that as type unknown. And we do the type check down here. So we double check to make sure it's a string. All right, so I'm just going to hit refresh. We didn't break anything, which was great. We're going to go into the view. We're going to go into the pinnea. We're going to go into the object itself, and we've got destination project. So there it is. That is great. We've made this generic. So we can use this on task, this, and so forth like that. Now, in here, what this means is I can do something like this. Now, whether I actually store that information in here, I don't, no, that would be silly. So if I go object store dot destination, and then I underscore and I go details, that will give us project details. I know you guys can't see that yet. There we go, project details. So we're happy with that. Undefined details. There we go, I just needed to refresh. And there we go. So that's how we're going to tackle it. This will be... And what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed things up. I'm just going to copy this because this is just a template. So subtext. This one will this one will just be title. All right, no, that one stays like that. This will be project description placeholder. All right, cool. Yep, we're happy with that. I'm just going to do that. Oh wait, this is title. There we go. And then we do that one. And that's it. All we need to do. And then if we go into the English version, I'll just refresh to make sure, yep, everything's working perfectly fine. Description of your project. If we remove this, we've got your project title. I've just also realized that we've got to pass through, we've got to edit quite a lot of this. So that no longer exists and those two no longer exist. So what I've actually got to do is validation rules equals, then we're going to go required, max length, and min length. Gonna get rid of that. Gonna get rid of that. We just need to import those. Like so. So when we go over here, we now get all of that data, but we also get this field is required. And as you can see, we've got a bunch of little text down there. So I have to write stuff in here. And if it gets too big, it fails. Description, not so much. Yeah, that's an optional field now. There you go, socks. You're on the screen. All right, so if we go over here, I'm just going to hit refresh. We've got all of this. We've still got this field as required. Now I know that we've got overrides and stuff like that. That's something that we will end up doing. And stuff like that, but oh, we didn't do the description. This will be there we go, perfect. All right, getting there. We are getting there with the translations. So yeah, won't take us too much longer. Okay. Socks is gone. There we go. You get to see me again. All right, that's fine enough. All right, so we've done that one. Now with the properties, let's go in and do that for the properties in here. So we'll have get rid of all of that priority model. Don't need that. We've still got the date times to implement. Yeah, that's going to be a pain. Anyway, define internationalization. We're going to go const t equals use internationalization in here. We've just got something pretty simple. We've just got that. We have story points. We will have start date and end date. Yeah, all right. So we'll deal with the English one first. What we'll have is properties. Easy done. We'll have story points. We'll make that a capital P. We'll have start date. And we'll have end date. So yeah, we just got 4. So 1, 2, yeah, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And date. Properties. Start date. Kishibi. Story points. And that should be it. Let's have a look at the NearBeach application. All right, that one's going fine. I'm just going to hit refresh. I haven't actually created the array. I haven't actually done any of the work. All right. There we go. I don't need to worry about these just yet. I might as well put them in, because when I start putting stuff in, yeah, it's just going to work. So we need T, and that will be end date, start date. Like that. date, like that. Just gonna hit refresh. Everything's looking fine. We don't have priority or status yet because I need to go further down to do that. But that one's fine. All right, cool. So let's do that right now. So we need object priority. With this one, we'll have a label. That's about it. That's it. Let's define it up here. As object priority. Yeah, that should be done. If we have a look, priority up there, that's incorrect. It should be capital. Because I left it like that. All right. There you go. It's capital there and priority. All right, sweet. Now we're just going to do that with the status. So just go back up here, define internationalization, so that const t equals use internationalization. We do something like that. Once again, it's going to be very, very simple. We're just going to do something like this. I'm just going to go t, we're just going to have it as a label. So we're going to have messages. We're going to have English label. This is going to be status. Is it done? Japanese, we're going to have label. And I'm making an open source project management system. So we're currently using NearBeach to rebuild NearBeach. So yeah, welcome, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content. Creator Abhi. All right, in here, what we want is status, Jotai. And then if we go over here and just hit refresh, oh, that's not. That didn't work how we wanted it to. Now, in theory, I should be doing something like that. I'm just going to hit refresh. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in lots of dots there. There we go. That lots of dots work. Oh, I got JS, JA. There we go. All right. So all of those have been translated. That's pretty good. We're just going to refresh. There we go. New. Those statuses, once again, if we actually, the user will be able to change those into their own language without a problem. The translation is coming there. Now, we haven't done anything with the group access or the user access or anything like that. I think we should start testing being able to do partial saves and have the system notify the user that, hey, we're doing those particular saves. Yeah. But I want to do this one first. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. We're going to go back onto the project page. We've got the general component. We're going to bring that one back over here. And what I want to do... I want to do something like that. Update. Socks. You know, you're not meant to stand on the mouse. Do that purposely. All right, I'm just going to do something there. Just going to do that. We're going to scroll down. We will have a welc button. Class is going to be called a primary. And then what we're going to have is a T. No, sorry, that's just going to be called update. We're going to leave it like that for a second. Because the idea here, the idea now is when we click on the button, we kind of want it to show a status being like, I'm currently updating for you, and so forth like that. But first we'll see what it looks like. Oh, it's outside the card. Hold on. Alright, we want welc card footer. There you go. So we've got the card header, then you got the text, and then you got the card footer. Alright. Sorry, give me a couple of seconds. I'm thinking of everything at the moment. I'm also thinking of potentially hiding this. The idea being is when the user hasn't made a change or anything like that, we kind of want it like this. And sorry, I'm just there's a lot of things that I want to do. Alright, so when someone comes over and clicks that, yeah, we do want to sort of state what you're updating. So update, description, and title, click on that. We then want it to state to the user that it's currently saving, and then whether or not the button hides or it stays there, I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out. So yeah. What are you trying to do? I'm trying to escape. Whoa, socks. Okay? You're not as steady on your feet anymore, sweetie. All right. Sorry, I should be saying out aloud what I'm thinking about. So with the, I kind of want the button to actually specify exactly what it's doing. Oh, hold on. Did I break the? Oh no, the mic's still there. All right, cool. So what I'm doing, I'm thinking about, is these two fields won't update automatically. But this field will, this field will, this field will after about a second or two. These will, linked objects will, documentation will, news and comments will, notes and comments will, MISC will, the stakeholders down here will, and so forth like that. So all of those fields update automatically when the user makes a change. It's just these two fields, we have to click a button. And I kind of want to specify when you click this button, it's only going to update those two fields. It's not going to update everything. Hence, I'm having the word update description and title. All right. I'm going to leave it like that. That's perfectly fine. Other things that I'm thinking about is if I do have it, that it just suddenly changes. Let's say someone clicks on it and it goes into saving mode. We do want the text to reflect that, and we want it to hit a disabled sort of state. In which case, we also want to notify the user when it's successfully updated too. And only have that like appear for a little while. All right, I think I've got a plan. It does involve a state. So we don't have refs here, so the update state by default is normal. Easy done. Hey, let me import that. We'll need a computed stuff in here. So I'm just going to put in computed too. And we'll also need functions. All right, so got the update state. We'll have the button down here. So we'll have that called update data. It's done. So we'll have a function up here, function update data. We'll add code. We'll have the Axios stuff in here and stuff like that. But straight away, notify the user of the state change. So we're going to go this would be the state that we just created, and my brain just went, oh, I forgot what that is called. So update state equals updating, update state dot value equals updating. Now, with the computed side of things, we haven't defined computed. We're going to have const render update button computed. We're going to have a switch case in here, update state.value, where the case is going to be normal. Actually, that's going to be our default. Case is going to be updating, so that will be return. And we'll also have one const is update button disabled. Return update state dot value does not equal normal. All right, cool. So in every other state, the button is disabled. So we're going to go down here. We're just going to go done. All right, cool. We're happy with that. We're happy with that. And then what we need to do is do that one. All right, cool. So I need to handle the render one now. So when it's updating, what we want to do, we want to have it like that. And that break doesn't need to do that. All right, cool. And that's it. We'll be able to extend this out. So we'll just use the verbs. Normal. All right, cool. So we'll go up here. We'll have update. Have updated and updating. And we'll think of the English words first. So please wait. Updating. Your updates have been processed. Easy done. Just basic sort of stuff. We're going to go over and do the Google Translate stuff again. Actually, we'll nick that down to just please wait. There you go. That will handle what is being rendered out. It also handles the button. We're just doing that. And what I want to do is set timeout. We're just going to go update state.value.normal. We're just going to go updated. I'm going to say, let's say after 2 seconds. And then we're going to do another set timeout. Update status. Da-da. After 4,000 seconds. This is just for us to test when we click that button. So when we click it, it should do what we want it to do. So we're going to go over here. We're just going to refresh everything. I'm just going to open up the console. We do have an issue with a lot of that translation stuff. Which is annoying. Alright, that's another thing I've got to probably fix and look at, how we can do it. Not found underscore subtext and so forth like that. And what I'm talking about is all of this. It's working, but yeah, it's not working how we want it to. Sorry, I thought I heard someone outside. Alright. Yeah, I'll get that done. I'll fix that up next. All right. Might be the case that I add in more computer properties. I add in just a protection layer and so forth like that, just in case there isn't anything with details in it. That way we can be like, these are going to be the defaults. But let's deal with this button first. All right, cool. Apart from the last one, which I just realize I've done that. Do I have the translation? I'll tell you what. Switch languages, paste that in, please wait. All right, going back into here, we're going to hit that. We probably got something around the wrong way. All right. Which means I've probably got this one around the wrong way. I'm gonna double check this. Yeah, we have. No problem, easy fix. Go into here, I'm just gonna hit refresh. And hey, Tantai, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. All right, we've got the please wait. Your process has been updated and then done. All right, cool. And then this one should be very, very similar. There we go. It's like, cool. Yeah, I like that. It's easy and it's done. All right, so we just now need to contact the backend and handle all of this. So what I want to do is I want to remove this. Now, I've been looking at fetch. So it'll go API version 1. In this sort of case, that will be object store.destination. And then object store.id, and then /. This is where I've got to look up this. So JavaScript fetch. Won't be a post. It'll be put one. Element network method, HTML methods. Request method. Post is submits often. I think we're using patch. Yeah, we're using patch. So I'm just going to go into here. We've got to go method. Oh, let's just go post. All right, yep. So we've got options. So we're going to have a patch. All right. It's not going to be that. It's going to be like something like that. So we'll have title, object store title, description, object store description. Right. Now I know I'm using fetch somewhere else. I'm slowly moving off Axis, and what I'm trying to actually do is I'm slowly moving off as many libraries. Yeah, it's a slow process. If something can be done natively, I'm going to try it. So yeah, and that's the reason why. I think the latest exploit really has shaken me into actually doing that. All right, these are the search tools.json. I'll put it then. We don't need to deal with the response at all. We just need to state that it's updated, and then we need to do set timeout. This is going to then go update state.value equals normal after about 2 seconds. Now I do need to do a catch to handle errors properly, and then I just need to update that to fetch is hard to add in set or middleware. Fair enough. I don't think I would need those to do those. A lot of this is very basic, simple stuff. Like, I'm just sending data. I don't need to do anything fancy with it. Yeah, that's all. Now, we're going to have a state called error. And what that's going to return is update error. I just need... There was a problem updating. Yeah, I just need it like that. We're just going to copy that. I'm just going to paste that down over here. We're just going to cut that out. We're just going to go into the translation. Just going to do that. Sorry, got to flip them. And we're going to paste that into there. There we go. Easy done. So that will still have a problem. And then there'll be an error. And then we'll still set the timeout. To normal after a while. And I'm just wondering if I could do another then after all of that. I'll leave it like that for the moment. Oh. All right. Let's just test it. Let's go save. I've got the network tab open. I'm just deleting stuff. I'm just going to hit that. Oh, 403, forbidden. So yeah, I need to send it the CRF tokens. CSRF tokens. And that's also another thing is, where is that? All right. I've set up Axios to handle this and so forth like that. But if I'm moving to fetch, I haven't actually set up fetch just yet. All right. We want to go into source. We want to go into main.ts. So this is where we do that. I'm just wondering if we do something similar. But if I don't have the token, when was this one done? Oh yeah, that's 8 years ago. All right. monkey patch the global fetch add header. I'm just going to copy this. Where am I? I'm over here. Oop. I'm just going to see what this does. I'm just going to refresh. We're just going to jump into the console. I'm just going to hit that button. Yeah, that failed anyway. Another thing, let's move that to the left. Let's just reload all of this. But yeah, if I can't solve this, I'll jump back to Axios. That's fine. I just want to see if this is plausible. Where am I going? Where storage? Cookies, localhost. There's our CRF token. That's our CRF token. All right, cool. So, document.cookie. Let's go over here. So we've got document.cookie, and then, yeah, we're just matching something that is like that. And then if I reload, I'm going to hit that button. There's our cookie. And we just do something like that. And then down here, we've got to do headers. We know what that is going to be. And then we've got to, where's our fetch? All right, CRF, yep, all right, cool, yep. That's the only header things in here. All right, cool. We've got my headers. We've got that. All right, cool. And what I can do is I can build up a composable for this. So for the moment, it can stay here. I can build up a composable. Just need to handle. The error case will. All right. I'll have to think about it. Unexpected token. But where? Oh. Oh, hold on. All right, hold on. I'll go blow it. Alright, if that is string or... Actually, no, it won't be a string. It will be an array. String array like that. That's in... regx match array. Alright, regx match array. Or undefined. Or null. All right, cool. So Axios O-fetch. What do you mean? I need more context. And it's nearly 10 o'clock, so I will be wrapping up very shortly. So what I want is const token equals, if CSRF token equals null, then we just do that. Otherwise, CSRF token, and we get the first value out. And that should be fine. And remember, we'll fix this up. If I decide that doing this is going to be too much work, putting it everywhere and stuff like that, I will fall back to Axios and I will just use what we do with Axios and stuff like that. So yeah, we're just trialing out the fetch. We did something the other day and it just worked and we were like, yes. Yeah, so just got to figure that out. Now I'm going to reload over here. Actually, no, I'm going to do it on Firefox. I'm just going to hit update. It didn't like the patch. Forbidden. Which, if we have a look at the headers... I think we're meant to take out that token. Okay, let's go into network. Let's have a look at these cookies. Yeah, we're meant to take out that token. All right. Const CFRF token, head query selected. All right, let's Let's try that one. So you're saying it's alert head query selector meta name serifref token. All right, cool. Oh, hang on. This is meta. All right, cool. Now that's assuming it gets rendered out in here. Yeah, I don't think that gets rendered out. And if we do a console log, we'll do the CFRF token like that. I'll just go into here. I'll hit refresh, and then we'll hit that button. Oh no, you're right. It does. All right, cool. Then I just need to take the token, don't I? Now, I'm just curious. I'm just curious at the moment. Undefined. Yeah, all right. Because I don't have that as a measure on anywhere on the page itself. So I'll fall always back onto that. All right, cool. And then what I've got to do is I've got to split. Separate is going to be like that, and I always take the last one. I'll have to clean this up quite a bit more. No, I didn't like that. Undefined. All right, not a problem. We're going to do it for the equals here. All right, cool. What we can do, we can replace that with nothing. Yeah, all right, let's test that. Now, we do have the token like that. I don't know why I deleted everything. When, in fact, let's go copy all. I think that's the problem. What I want is that all right, something like that, and I'm just gonna hit refresh. Let's update. We've got a 400 bad request. All right, that's something new. All right, cool. So we've now passed the problem. I'm gonna do a little bit more research around this, how I can sort of get this to work, and make it so that way if I'm using fetch, it gets that token. But it is past 10 o'clock at the moment. It's pretty much the end of the stream. I am, I'm just gonna raid Mr. D-Boy. But yeah, thank you very much, Ty, for the help. It is greatly appreciated. I'm just testing out this fetch. Hey, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works. So yeah. So yeah, let's raid on through to Mr. D-Boy. And yeah. Anyway. Have a good evening.